Hey guys, it's Esteban again with Incognitistic. I want to talk about PTSD today. And this is a very large topic, so it's probably going to be broken down into several videos. Um, Maybe not consecutive videos, but I'll definitely touch on different parts of the topic throughout my videos. Today, I'll focus on how PTSD can affect somebody who is AuDHD differently than it can neurotypical people, at least usually. So for us, having PTSD is intensified because our triggers for the negative feelings that we experience are much more plentiful than neurotypicals usually have. And so when we have PTSD and we know that our triggers are everywhere, it makes it that much more difficult for us to go out and do things when experiencing anxiety around it. And a lot of people who are neurodivergent will end up staying in their house or even in their room for extended period of time, sometimes months, years, because of the anxiety of having to confront one of these triggers, or many of them. I think the Japanese have a lifestyle called hikikomori, and I equate that to the extreme social anxiety that we can get when dealing with PTSD. So, one of the things that used to give me PTSD was being around people who were drunk or loud or just a lot of people in one place in general. And although that does make me extremely uncomfortable still, I was able to work with my triggers on that PTSD to be able to confront it and overcome it. One of the best tools that I'd ever used for overcoming this PTSD was ketamine treatment. And the ketamine treatment relieved a lot of my anxiety around these things, around the different traumatic events and triggers that surrounded the PTSD. And essentially, what the ketamine did was it rebuilt neural pathways around the old ones that accessed the negative feelings. So it didn't get rid of the memories, it didn't get rid of the triggers, it just made me feel them differently in a not so negative and sharp way, almost as though it's not really happening to me, like a third party is viewing the trigger or the PTSD memory. So I took antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds for quite a long time, and eventually they just didn't work. So partially because my anxiety and depression came from a completely different place than a lot of other people's comes from, being neurodivergent. And so the ketamine was kind of like my last resort. And it really became the light at the end of the tunnel. And it was not a train coming at me. It really was hope and change. So I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, but if you are having issues with extreme anxiety or treatment-resistant depression as a neurodivergent person, ketamine is definitely something to look into. And in the United States, it's FDA approved now for the treatment of depression, anxiety, and PTSD. So if you have insurance, oftentimes you'll be able to use your insurance to pay for the treatment. Anyhow, it's great seeing you all. I hope that all is well, and we'll see you on the next one.